Hi, I'm Analytical, the sickeningly entertaining and educational coding queen. And today we are going to be doing FreeCodeCamp JavaScript edition. We've got a bunch of people in the live stream. The other week we did FreeCodeCamp HTML, and that was a major hit. We learned a lot of the basics of HTML. We did the headings, body tags. We did a bunch of form stuff, which will maybe come into play in this JavaScript lesson. I have not checked out FreeCodeCamp for JavaScript yet. Well, I guess I did take a look. It covers variables, if statements, loops. There goes into some recursion. So this will be great if you have never coded before, want to learn how to code, learn JavaScript. Yes, you can go and do all these FreeCodeCamp exercises on your own, but if you're following along with me, I'm going to spill all the tea on how you'll use these things in the real world, what you can do after you're done kind of with this lesson. They obviously have so many more lessons. I think they have hundreds and hundreds of hours of content on FreeCodeCamp. So you can work your way through that with me in these live streams during these rough times. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on the stream or if I get some, get hurt by the algorithm or whatever. But we've got a bunch of people in the chat, so I just want to say hi to you all before we dive in. We have Abigail here, we have Danny, we have Amitai. So I'm going to pull it up we're going to transition to this view. I don't think you can see it, so let me just refresh the page. Yes! Already a victory. We are crushing it. And I know don't worry about the video. Perfect. We've got, if there's a little bit of lag in the video, don't worry. We're, always learning. I'm always learning about code, producing content for all of you, and I want to improve it. So we'll work on some of the video lag, but I believe any of this screen sharing should be fine. Oh, hey, Ben Carson. You heard me on the Stack Overflow pod. Great. Many of you might be coming from that Stack Overflow pod. I'll put a link in the description after this, or you could find it on Twitter after the live stream. Don't leave now. Stack Overflow is one of the leading places to go and ask questions about code. Let's just visit it right now. Why not? So it's like if you ever want to ask any question about code, like how to do JavaScript, obviously come up with a better answer. This is the #1 forum for asking questions with code. Maybe how to do a loop in JavaScript. And for each array, so lots of people contribute to this. I'm a contributor to this website. So it's great to get, Stack Overflow is just a great way to help your developer community when you're more advanced as a developer, but also there's so many people who want to help you learn how to code. If you've never coded before, if you've maybe done some of these FreeCodeCamp exercises or taken one computer science class, that's not enough to kind of start building websites, start building apps. You can learn some of the basics, but you're gonna run into roadblocks. And something like Stack Overflow is great because there are hundreds of thousands of people who want to help you. I've even tried, there are so many HTML questions. I try to answer them because if I can answer them, you get all these points, and that's kind of exciting to have all the points. And I think 9 times out of 10, there are 4 people who reply to the same intro HTML questions or intro web development questions. And some people will put they'll put so much work into it. So this is a great resource for you to know about. And I was so lucky to be on their podcast and talking about this. I talk a little bit about what I do for my job, and literally, this is insane. I am in the sidebar. Programming tutorials can be a real drag. I'm the real drag. So that is, that's so cool. So we are at freecodecamp.org. I think you can see everything perfect. I have the chat open on the side. I think, actually, let me go over here so we can keep the chat. I'm just messing everything up. We can keep the chat in the video, so when people are watching at home, I think they can see it too. And if it doesn't work in a second, okay, great. We are here. Anna with the puns. They came up with the ones. They emailed me, and I was actually so happy. They emailed me, and they were like, we don't want to be offensive or anything. So we're like, we have a bunch of puns in our title and description for the podcast. And it was like, these are all really funny. I love them. Go for it. I'm not someone who offends too easily, thankfully, because that kind of just lets me have so much more fun with, if people are trying to be rude, it's easy to like clap back at them or just to like teach them the right thing. Where are we? I've not made my portfolio public. Okay. Oh, I was already on the page. So just as a review, we did basic HTML and HTML5 last week. I don't even know if we're going to be able to get through all this JavaScript. So they have another 300 hours of JavaScript stuff you can do. But we're going to do basic JavaScript. And I think it's a bit of like basic JavaScript and basic computer science. So it's kind of a mix between like a great way to get started with coding. We're just going to go to the first lesson because I've rambled so much already. Yes, we love a life lesson and a coding lesson, Abigail. Yeah, I'm like Wendy Williams burping a little bit. I went to the store to get a Diet Coke before this because I just knew I would need like a burst of energy, and mama, it's working. Woohoo! My voice. We'll talk about my voice in a little bit because it is husky. It is husky like Candy Muse's voice. Basic JavaScript. Okay. Go to the first lesson. I will say, even just looking at this first one, I think I looked at FreeCodeCamp for JavaScript at one point, and it's amazing. It's amazing. They have so many free. They have hundreds of hours of problems and projects you can work through, but like they don't make it super exciting. Like, it's a great worksheet, I would say. I would say find interesting projects maybe, or like work through this once you like just learn a little bit of the basics, and then you can find more interesting projects to go off of, because like, why is the first challenge you're doing is saying literally no code is going to appear because we're going to comment the code. So, okay, but we're just going to follow along because I'm sure they've worked it out in a smart way. So comments in code are just instructions for anyone reading the code, for you reading the code, that says, it's just a little bit of explanation as like what your code is actually doing. Okay, comments are lines of code. So you can write, there are two types of comments in JavaScript. You do one that's one line and one that's for multiple lines. And we're supposed to make one of each type. Create a one line style comment. And if you're new to FreeCodeCamp, basically they have instructions here. Your output's over here. I'll make this all just a little bigger for anyone watching like on mobile. And then here are like the tests that they're going to run to make sure you've done everything correctly. It contains at least 5 letters. Watch analytical on YouTube. Okay, so that's one comment, and it looks like it's going to the next line, but you can see that's just because of how small my window is. So it's still on one line. If we press enter, then we'll go to the next line. And then I'll do one of these style comments, and I'll go to another line. Do I need to do 2 of these? No. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. That's you, all you watching. Subscribe, like, ring the bell, all that jazz. Run the tests. We've got a lot to get through. Submit and go to the next challenge. I might even skip over some of these. I'm actually going to pull it up just to see what they all are. Just quickly to do like a little bit of an overview to make sure like we are going to make sure we're like spending our time wisely here, because some of this I know this might not be the most interesting, but it definitely gets you through it. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. Let me read the chat quickly. Hi, you said Stack Overflow has really inspiring blog posts for beginners. FreeCodeCamp. Yes, FreeCodeCamp. They have great podcasts. They have great blog posts. Another one I really like is Code Newbie. For a podcast, they interview. So I think it's Sarang. I think that's her. I can't remember her name. She interviews so many different people in the tech industry, and they talk about what they work on at kind of a high level and a low level, like in depth. So that's a great way for you to learn about like what kind of opportunities are there in the engineering or in the tech world beyond just like, I want to code. So you get a little bit of like, what's this? What are my career options? What are the different possibilities? And it's just like a really nice podcast. So go support that Code Newbie as well. And they've got a great community, same as FreeCodeCamp. Okay, so declare JavaScript variables. So in computer science, data is anything that is meaningful to the computer. So there are 7 types. Pop, sick, squish. Pop, sick, squish. Cicero, Lipschitz. I'm missing one. The 7 deadly sins, maybe the 7 deadly types. There's undefined, null, boolean, string, symbol, number, and object. One thing I'll also say is like, don't worry about memorizing lots of stuff with code. Just because you can look up so much of it on Stack Overflow on the internet. So like there's 7 different types. So like you want to distinguish between numbers and text, then you would use like, so there's like the number 12, but you could, so like the number 12, it's like you could add 1 to it, but like if you were to write text as 12, if you added 1 to it, then that kind of might turn into like 121 if you do 1 plus or 1 to 1 rather than thinking about it as like, oh, hello Evan Ross Katz. We've got a major celebrity in the house and another great podcaster, podcaster of Shut Up Evan. You could also go check that out. It's a great way to stay up to date on gay stuff and pop culture. Lots of amazing interviews. So let's see. Let me just read this because that'll be clearer, I think. So computers distinguish between numbers such as the number 12 and strings, such as 12 in quotes, dog in quotes, or 1, 2, 3 cats in quotes. They love to do like animal stuff on this FreeCodeCamp. We should got like a Tiger King FreeCodeCamp edition. Oh, and then Abigail, you got some soup. Look great. We love some homemade soup. Yum yum yum. Slurp slurp. Okay, so variables, they store data. Basically, like you store data in a file. You store data when you're coding in variables, and they're really similar to the variables in math. But like, don't worry about math. You really don't need to know any math if you want to code. Because the computer can do it all for you. If you want to add 1 plus 1, you just write 1 plus 1 and it can be stored in your variable. So we tell JavaScript to declare our variables or create our variables by putting the word var in front of it. And this creates a variable, our name. So var our name, and then we end statements in semicolons. And variable names can be made up of numbers, letters, $signs, or underscores. They can't contain spaces or start with a number. They just dropped a lot of knowledge bombs on us, but okay. Let's just create a variable called my name as it asks us to do. Use the var keyword to create a variable called my name. Run the tests. Going to the next challenge. Storing values. So like we created our variable, we got to put data in there. We have an empty file, we got to write data to that file. So in JavaScript, so you just put an equal sign after. It's it's like math, but like we're talking elementary school math. I mean, I don't want you to be scared of math. Math is wonderful, but let's say you are someone who is a math-averse. Again, it's like all stuff you did beyond in 4th grade, and I'm sure you loved math when you were in 4th grade. So you say which variable you want on the left. So my var, and then on the right you'll give it the value. And everything on the right of the equal sign is resolved before the value is assigned. So here they're setting my var to 5, and then they're setting my num to my var. So they're basically setting my num to 5 in a very roundabout way. Okay, I would not say this is like a realistic scenario. I mean, you're definitely gonna be working with a lot of variables and maybe reassigning them, but this, again, very beginner example and very unexciting. Okay, assign the value 7 to the variable a. Okay, so a equals 7, I can't type, and assign the contents of a to b. Let's run the tests. Oh, I gotta undo that. It said not to change that. Only change code below the line. I can't read the instructions. A equals 7 and B equals A. And you can use spaces to like clean it up the code. So like line 7, that looks a lot nicer than line 8. But I wouldn't worry about it when you're just learning this, because wherever you're writing code, it will organize it yourself. Let's run the tests and do that. Would be great if Abby is saying, "Oh, Abby changed your name." It's the same person. I was confused. Now it's Abby. Okay, hey Abby. It would be great to see if someday there's a musical about coding starring Analytical. Wow, I would pay to see that too. And Chloe Condon could participate. She could. She is another musical theater, acting. She loves drag, acting, engineer. Okay, let's power through some of these. Basic assignment, so we want to initialize a variable. It's basically creating a file, but before you save it, you're already giving it a variable, or giving it some data. So var, we have to define a variable a. I'm looking right here. Define variable a and initialize it to 9. A equals a 9. Bam. Oh, hey Ben Palin. And yes, we're having a coding kiki. Kiki. Oh, we've got a Stan. Oh, we got a Stan from Efros Cats right in the chat. Oh my god, they've added so much code. But even so, I think we're on lesson, or like, what is it? Task 4, whatever. And like, in 10 lines of code, you actually already know most of this stuff already. We're defining a bunch of variables. We are then setting variables. And here there's a plus sign. So it's like, what could that be? The plus signs bringing stuff together, or doing addition perhaps. Okay, what is it saying? So this is about uninitialized variables. So when you make a new variable, it has nothing in it. And if we do math on an undefined variable, we're going to get not a number. And if we concatenate, they're using a lot of big words here. If we join two strings and one of them is undefined, or one of them is an undefined variable, then we're going to get, like, it's literally just going to say undefined. Okay, initialize 3 variables, A, B, and C, with 5, 10, and I am A. Okay, so A is going to be 5, and not in quotes, I think. B is going to be 10. C is I am A. Okay, so basically they're saying they don't want any of these variables to be undefined when we do them here. Concatenate. So concatenate does come up a lot in like real code. Like real talk, concatenate is going to be a word you'll hear over and over again, and then eventually you'll be like, okay, I got it. And it just means join. But I think in a few programming languages, if you've got like string A and string B and you want to join them, or you have like some list, you might do concat B, and that's kind of where that's what that comes from. I don't think it's in JavaScript. Concatenate. concatenate. I did that ASMR wig styling video once. I should do one where I just do like ASMR saying complicated coding terms. And we passed this test. And just to review, so basically they don't want any of this to be undefined. So we've got A is a number, B is a number. So when we're adding numbers, we're going to be good. When we're adding strings, we're also going to be good. I should like add that to my list. I have a wonder list of different ideas. Okay, so I could also I could read like definitions of them. So ASMR complex coding vocab. Great. We love ideas. I mean, we're 5% in and we're like so deep. It weirds me out that the difference of results with plus or minus. Yeah, Danny, there's definitely like weird things that can happen with plus or minus, and I think we're going to get into that soon. Okay. Case sensitivity. These are very sensitive times, people. People, we're sensitive. Can you subtract strings from each other? I don't remember, but I'm actually we can go check it out now. If you do inspect in like any browser, you'll be able to pull up like a whole JavaScript console. You can do all sorts of JavaScript in here. It's a little advanced, but it's just a good way to like check stuff out. So var a equals, or we don't even need to declare variables. We can just say ABC minus, let's say plus a. So that's what happens when we add them, and what happens when we subtract. So we get not a number. So that's your answer. What happens when you subtract a string in JavaScript? You get not a number. So the cases, basically this is just saying your variable names, you got to use the right cases. They're kind of different reasons you would use different capitalizations, but don't do stuff like this, like Twitter capitalization, because that's not going to help. And they also have to match. So like variable a is not the same as var capital A. Camel case is so good because you do, this is kind of like hashtag case. You do, the first letter is lowercase and then you do capitals for all the other words. So what do they want us to do? Modify existing declarations. So we got to use camel case for everything. Studly cap var. What? And like what? Who's coming up with this? Can I like talk to the people there? FreeCodeCamp. What are these names you're coming up with? So I'm just copy and pasting that down because that's a lot easier than having to retype it all out. Title case over 5%. Okay. We're gonna go through it. We're gonna speed through. So numbers, adding two numbers with JavaScript. This is, I think we've got a bunch of ones which are coming up, and they're just addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and they are pretty straightforward. If you've ever done math beyond probably kindergarten, 5th grade, no, it's 4th grade. So anyone can do this, I believe. So here they want us to change 0 so the sum will equal 20. I would say this is some of the most math I've had to do, figuring out how to get this 10 to be, or the 10 plus what, you use 20. You're never going to have to do math like that. So 10 plus 10, we get 20. Bam! This is a power hour, or power math. So subtraction, you'll do subtraction with math. Change the 0 so the difference is 12. Okay, 45 minus what is 12? Oh my god. 33? I think that's it. Okay, good. Okay, multiply, you use the star symbol. That's shift 8 to get that. Change 0 so it will equal 80. So 8 times 10 is 80. Bam. Use the slash. It's right next to the shift key. It's also the question mark, but you have to no shift to do that. Change 0 so the quotient. Oh my god, stop using all this math. That's not good for people who don't want to do math and code. Change 0 so the quotient is equal to 2. 66 divided by 33 is 2. Okay. And increment a number. So if you want to go up by one number, then you can use plus plus. And that is the same of doing like number equals that number plus 1. So what do they want us to do? Change the code so to use the plus plus operator on my var. Okay, so bam, we get rid of all of this and my var plus plus, bam. Okay, we are at 10% of this challenge. We are speeding through some of this math. You can do the same with decrementing or decreasing. Decrement, another big word that they do not need to be using. I don't know why. It's like, girl, just say talk. Girl, just say talk. So instead of equals your variable equals itself minus 1, you just do minus minus. Bam. Next challenge. Create decimal numbers with JavaScript. Oh, bam. You literally just do, you use a decimal. You do bop up number dot other number. Create a variable my decimal, var my decimal. Gotta have those cases right. Equals 1.69. I saw someone was saying something about 169 in the chat. Let's see what the chat's saying. 169. I see you, CodeCamp Abby. Well, I'm glad. If you're slow on these simple math, don't worry. I was almost gonna get out my phone to use it as a calculator. I was like, no, thank you. Multiply 2 decimals in JavaScript. What? It's like change the. It's like, I don't want to have to do all this math. 2 decimals to get their product. Change 0 so the product will equal 5. What? 2 times what equals 5? I guess 2.5. It's like FreeCodeCamp. This is not good if people don't want to do math. And this is another great reason. Like, if you have a friend who wants to code, send them this video because like I'll do the math for them. And if they're following along, they can still type it out, which I'd recommend doing if you're learning this or learning JavaScript. But yeah, it's like, don't be forced to do this math. Change 0 so the quotient is 2.2. It's like, we know how to do the division. You're just giving us a lot of like new problems. So 4.4 divided by 2 is 2.2. The remainder operator. This is a good one. It's kind of mathy, but there are like different ways it can come up. Basically, it's like when you divide one number by another, how much remains? It comes up when you're doing some math stuff, and there are different ways you can use it in loops, but like we'll get to that later. Set remainder equal to the remainder of 11 divided by 3 equals 11. So it does the division for you and just gets the remainder. And that's the percent operator, which is, you know where the percent key is. It is shift 5. Compound assignment. Oh my God. It's like we're just learning JavaScript. We're just learning code. This is complicated, mama. Mama. You'll use assignment to modify the contents of a variable. So what are they saying? To add 5. Oh, so when we did plus, so if we were increasing a number by 1, we did plus, which is the same as like your number equals that number plus 1. But if you're doing something that isn't plus 1, like plus 5 here, you can do plus equals. And I guess that's what they're saying for these compound operators. So they just want us to do that. Again, more math, but this one's easier. So we just do plus equals and get rid of the letter. One thing I do like about FreeCodeCamp though, I think we're gonna have the same thing with subtraction, is it's really easy. Like you can do this anywhere. It's like you could do this on your phone. You could do this on a tablet. I mean, it'd be pretty hard. Like you could set up like a Bluetooth keyboard with your phone or with your tablet. I think I definitely would recommend a keyboard if you're learning any code. But it's just like, this is like accessible anywhere, FreeCodeCamp. And it's like, it's all in this browser. Okay, more. Can I skip these lessons? No. So we're pushing through. good thing you've got me, Analytical, to take care of you and do this multiplication for you, saving you that math headache. Ugh. So Abby, or actually anyone in the chat, I'd love to know what got you interested in coding or drag, or like what's kind of your level of like, why are you engaging with this content? And maybe we could share that with the audience and see if there's anything interesting I can learn from you, or you can learn from me. I think that would be a cool thing to do. So okay, so this is the same with division. I've never used this like division compound operator. I think this is really confusing actually. So don't use this. So you're saying Google's Grasshopper is a good way to learn JavaScript. It's like Duolingo. Huh. Well, I will certainly check that out. Yeah. Okay, we're finally out of the math moment. So we're going on to strings, which are just text. It's like anything. It's really just anything, but we put it in quotes so that it doesn't get like interpreted, or like if you've got like the number 1, when you add 1 to it, it becomes 2. But I think as I was saying earlier, it's like if you have like a piece of paper, you wrote the number 1 and then wanted to add 1, then maybe you would just like add another 1 onto it if you're being funny. So that's kind of what happens with strings. They take it very literally. So we want to make a new 2 string variables, my first name and my last name, and assign them the values of our, okay. First name equals Anna, var my last name equals Lytical. Okay, run the tests. That first 5% we were so slow, and now we've just like bolted through 15%. So it's like that's another thing that's a little frustrating with this. It's like it moves kind of slowly in interesting ways, but you know, it's a free resource and it's a great it's a great first like introduction. Just like type out some code and see a little bit. Okay, escaping literal quotes in strings. Okay, so if you like had a sentence and you had some quotes in it, they would kind of get distracted by the other quotes on the outside. So you use the other slash. I'm spitting everywhere. I'm like Brita filter. It's the slash above the enter key, and that will let you have quotes inside of your quotes. There are a lot of better ways to do this, but this is kind of a good thing to know about. So this is use backslashes to assign a value to my string. Okay, so this is what we want to see. So I'm copying that in, and you'll already see there are a bunch of like these red squiggly lines because of the weird quotes. We add a slash here. We add a slash here. You add a slash here and here. Okay. I am a double quoted string inside double quotes. We're all trying to stay inside in these times. Okay, I just want to read some of these messages. So Amitai is part of the LGBTQ community and thinks representation in tech is important. And you're not working in tech right now, but you might want to shift fields one day. So that is awesome. I'll actually kind of talk through each of you as we kind of go through. So if you're not in tech, like there are actually so many ways you can use tech in whatever job you're in. Like even if you have to like make Google spreadsheets a lot or something, that kind of comes up in so many jobs to keep track of stuff. If you can learn a little bit about how to write formulas in them or how to use code to make that faster, like there's so many ways you could optimize what your job is. Or even like, let's say you're a photo editor or something and you have a ton of files. Maybe you want to write a script that crops them all in the same way. So there's so many ways. If you learn the basics of code, then you can figure out ways to automate whatever you work on. And that's like a superpower you can have, because a lot of people in tech might not know about the field you're in, but you have that special expertise on like whatever it is and can apply some of your tech problem solving skills to that. And again, use something like Stack Overflow to get more information on like how to solve that problem if you don't know all the steps. Like, oh, it's like maybe you want to write this script that crops photos, then you would, maybe you're like, okay, I know how to like load in an image, or I know how to like, or maybe you just want to know, I know how to do a for loop, I know how to deal with numbers, but how do I load in an image in JavaScript and crop it? And you could ask that on Stack Overflow, and I'm sure you would get an answer very quickly. I'm sure there's actually already an answer there, so you wouldn't even have to ask it. Okay, back to the JavaScript. So quoting strings with single quotes. Okay, yeah, so you could also use single quotes instead of double quotes. Like if you're gonna have a lot of quotes in your string, then you can just totally avoid that. So the single quotes are right next to the enter key. What is it saying here? If you use, what does it say? Oh, and then you're gonna have the same problem here though, because if you use, I guess it's not a single quote. It's kind of like the apostrophe. So yeah, it's the same problem. It's kind of like whatever you want to do. I would say try to use double quotes more often than single quotes. Oh, and we've got some HTML here. If you watched last week, you'll know that this is a link to a website and it's going to open in a new tab. So change the string to a single quotes at the beginning and end with no escape character. So because everywhere in the string uses double quotes, we can use single quotes. Oh, we should remove all these backslashes. Okay, great. Don't mess up the string. So yeah, this ends up making it a lot easier to read because we don't have all these backslashes. Let's do a few more and then we'll look at the chat again. Basic JavaScript, escape sequences in strings. Quotes aren't the only characters. Okay, so there are a bunch of different like things in strings you can do. So if you want to have a new line, you can't just like put enter. So you do /n for a new line, you do /t for tab. Never used carriage return, I did no idea what form feed is. Word boundary, what are they trying to do here? What are they trying to do? Assign the following 3 lines into a single variable. You also need the spacing with no spaces. Oh, and here they kind of give us a hint. We don't even need that hint. I am going to put this on a new line, and just like in HTML, that white space isn't going to be affected. And it's like the white space in the string, I don't know if it gets affected. So the first thing is we know we want to do // for this tab. And we actually do have to put this all in one line or it's going to get overwhelmed. And it's still on line 2. It's just kind of like there. So // and we want to do, what does it have? So there's a new line. So /n for new line. I've kind of worked with a few strings. I've worked with a few strings before in my day. So I know these, but like you can always look them up. You're not going to be tested on this. /t for the tab, and then we need another new line here, /n, and here it's outputted it for us. So let's run the tests. Fabulous. Concatenating strings, more on this concatenation, meow. This is just using the plus operator on strings. No big deal. No big deal. It's like math, but it's more fun because you can actually like have it say things you want it to say. What happened? Okay. This is the start, okay, and this is the end. So instead of and, we just do plus. Bam! And we saw we can't subtract strings. Concatenating with plus equals. This is kind of the same with numbers. So they're really reinforcing a lot of this, which is good, you know. It's good to like have multiple ways to approach this. So what does it want us to do? This is the first sentence. This is the same sentence. This is the same situation. So we're going to copy it in. Equals this. That's the first sentence, semicolon, and then my string plus equals the second sentence, and add that semicolon at the end, and run the tests. We'll do one more. Constructing. What is this? Let me read the chat for a second, because I got overwhelmed by some of the text they're giving us. Oh, hi, Underzio. Welcome to the chat. Some claps for me. Thank you. So Abby, your dad is an electrical engineer and overall too super technical and tech savvy. So you've been kind of interested, but it seemed complicated. So you are a coding noob. That's so interesting because when I was growing up, I don't know how old you are. So you're also a boring straight girl. Who cares? We love to have the support because we can't make progress in the community until we have support of so many people. Code, I think it can be really overwhelming. There's so many. Oh, you're 25. I'm just 1 year older than you. But it's never too late to like get into tech, or as I was saying, there's never too late to like find an interesting thing in whatever you're working on to like use tech with. So like I think it is a good way to like watch some of the videos. I'm trying to do more kind of like fun starter projects like I made that Instagram filter. That's a great project. There's drag and drop coding. It has a few coding concepts. I think over time, like seeing a lot of the concepts will make things clear. And then once you kind of seen a lot of them, or like doing something like FreeCodeCamp to learn this basic JavaScript and learn all of this, then it's a great way. There's so many different paths you can take. I would say web development's a great, like, just make a fun website. I have a soundboard tutorial on how to make a soundboard for your favorite drag queen. It's on my YouTube channel, and I work through basic HTML. I show you how to host a website. It's one of my older videos, so you will have to excuse the terrible editing and bad makeup, but like that's such a great project. I would really recommend to do, and I'll make a new video for that so I can be more edited, more fun. So yeah, I would definitely go check that out. I see there's a bit more in the chat, but I will come back to that all in a second. Let me know if you have any more on that, Abby, if you want to discuss like what kind of projects you could do. I'd be happy to like advise and maybe even make a tutorial video on it. So sometimes you need to build a string like Mad Lib style. So like our name is blank, and then you want to continue on to the string. What are they saying? We can just keep doing, we can use a lot of pluses in here. Okay, my name is blank and I am well. Mama, my name is blank and I am unwell. So my name equals Anna. Mama, today was a day. My name, so we've got the first part, my name, plus, and I am well. And notice they've added like these spaces in here so that it ends up like giving us the right result. Does it? It doesn't really output us. That's kind of annoying too. But okay, whatever. So like if you do want to learn how to code, Abby, I would definitely say like you have to code. Like you have to actually do the typing. You have to like type it out. So like watching this is great, and like maybe come back to this after. I'm gonna leave this stream up so you can follow along. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'll try to add some more jokes in here. We got jokes. Because like actually typing it out will give you like a really good feeling. So like I think learning multiple ways is great. So you're listening to me talk about it, you are watching these videos, but a second way is just typing it out. Or I guess the third way. Appending variables to strings. Oh my god, perfect. We love a convert. I should like, it's like I wish I was sponsored by them, but it's like they're a nonprofit, so it's okay. So we wrote a string over multiple lines. Okay, so they're basically just saying we can keep using the plus equals for strings. Set some adjective and append it to my string with plus equals. Learning to code is it sickening? Sickening! And we do my string, and there's autocomplete. I'm pressing tab to finish it up, but it pops up automatically. My string, that's not the one we want. We want some adjective. Run the test, bam. Let's get to 10% more, and then we'll kind of answer a few more questions from the chat. Find the length of a string. This is so useful. You're always going to be wanting to find the length of stuff. You just do .length right on the string. Use the .length property to count the number of characters in last name. Okay, so it just wants to find the length of this last name, and there's do .length. You are going to learn how to spell the word length if you're coding in JavaScript, if you're coding in Java. Definitely. So length comes up all the time. You're going to be looping through things based on the length. You're going to make arrays based on length or lists based on length. So you want to know how to do length and spell it Length. Length. At the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. Or maybe let me remix it. Or what is that? Maybe it's my coding bee. At the 25th annual Analyticals Coding Bee. We'll work on it. We will workshop that. Use bracket notation. Okay, so this is another really great one. So you can use brackets on a string, which are kind of like right next to the P character on your keyboard. And you can basically get like, which letter in this are you? So we're going into last name and we want to get, which element do we want to get? We want to get the first character in last name. And it's starting at 0. If you want to know why it starts at 0, go watch my series Beyond Binary. We talk about computer science in a super fun way. I explain a lot of these concepts that are coming up and also like what's actually happening like inside your computer. So you're going to learn the JavaScript and you're going to learn like, oh, like how does this kind of computer actually like kind of work? Bam. String immutability. Before we dive into this, let's look in the chat again. We've got Coconut. You're a straight dude, and your best friend is a lesbian drag super fan. You got into Drag Race, and you're trying to get her to learn coding. I'm a perfect combo for us. Wow, amazing. Another one of my favorite lesbians who tech. Well, there's this amazing organization, Lesbians Who Tech. They put on a great conference. They have so many resources. Go check it out. So that's a great resource. And then also one of my favorite kind of tech journalists is Kara Swisher. She's a raging lesbian and she is so smart, does amazing tech interviews with people. So go check out her work. I would recommend the Pivot podcast she does with Scott Galloway. It is super lightweight, super fun to stay up on your tech news. Also, hold on. I'm going to adjust my lighting. I realized it was barely facing me. I am in my heels, so it's just a full struggle to like get everything moving. All right, the lighting is correct now. Let me tweet that out because maybe she'll like it. Kara Swisher does like a lot of my tweets, which I do stan. Okay, someone's asking if we're going to have the stream available to watch later, and yes, it will be available 100%. So if you're like not into watching a live stream, because I love to watch coding content at 2x speed. So like, you should go do that too, like definitely don't like subject yourself to the 1x speed. So like go watch this 2x speed much later. I need to reply to Joe later, but I will do that in a bit. Okay, well, I need to get the link from here. So like that's how I link. I'm teaching JavaScript in drag right now. And I'm trying to get there and to learn how to code. I told them about Stan Kara Swisher. And, always self-promoting. It's a great way just, like, we want more people to know about what's going on. Teaching JavaScript in drag right now. And someone said they are trying to get their lesbian friend to learn how to code. So, of course, I told them to check out Lesbian Tech. and Stan Kara Swisher. Okay, work. We're back to string immutability. These people at FreeCodeCamp, yes, immutability, that's like the correct word to use, but God, it's just like that's confusing. Basically, strings, some strings, what is it? What is it? String values can't change. Okay, so like you can access like any of these variables. You can access variables, or you can access like the letters in a string. So we did that last time using the square brackets, but you can't like change the letters that way. This is kind of confusing because lists are going to come up, or we call them arrays in code, and you are able to change elements in a list like that. So it'd be cool if they introduced that first, but whatever. So we can't change this to job like that. So what is it recommending us do? So we have to change the entire variable. We can't change it like one at a time. So here it says Jello World. So now we want to say my string equals, and we have to just redo the entire string. There are definitely better ways to do this. So hello world, let's run the tests. Using bracket notation to find the nth character. Second letter. Oh, basically they're saying, you know, we can use that. We can use that to get the 0th character, which is the first one. Again, confusing, we start counting at 0, but you'll get it. We want to get the 3rd letter of the last name. So that's going to be 0, 1, 2. So it's going to be 2, not 3. They're getting tricky. Using bracket notation to find the last character in the string. Oh, this is a great one. So you would think, okay, you can do, brackets and last name, or last name dot length. You'd think you could do that and that'd be good. But because we're starting to count at 0, you gotta subtract 1. And you're gonna see this a lot. Getting the length of something -1 in square brackets. This comes up all the time. Bam. Use JavaScript bracket notation to find the nth to last character in the string. Okay, so they're getting a little tricky. So the 3rd to last character, and they're saying we can actually we can actually subtract just like the actual name or the actual number. So we want to get the 3rd to last, or the 2nd to last. We can use 2. We don't have to use 1 because it'd be 0, 1. But the subtraction lets us use 2. What is it doing now? I think this is kind of like a bit of an overview of some of this stuff. So they want us to build this string. They provide us with the noun, verb, all these parts, and we have to complete a sentence using these words. And we have to account for spaces. Oh my god, what a challenge. Okay, so maybe like and we add a space here, my noun. I guess we want to do my adjective. So my adjective, and we have to add another space here. My adjective blank plus. Now it's like I'm a math person, so like those number challenges are easy, but now I'm like adjectives, adverbs, that's like, that overwhelms me. The adjective blank, my noun, plus space, plus my adverb, plus space, my verb. Oh my god, that's like, and we also, it's good it gives us a little squiggly so we know if we're wrong. Oh my god, that was a hard one. Okay, we are on to lists. This is what I was talking about before. Another way to see square brackets. So we call them arrays. I'm going to keep calling it arrays because arrays, that is something that comes up all the time. Computer science, in coding, in JavaScript. You want to know what an array is. So it wants to contain a string and a number. It will contain my follower count. Let's imagine this was over 1 million. That'd be great. So share with all your friends. And now we want to put an array inside of an array. Create a nested array called myArray. Okay, so we're just going to put one here, one in here. We'll do two in here. This kind of comes up. It's a little complicated. I wouldn't recommend doing it too often. Array data with indexes. This is what we saw with strings. And if you watch Beyond Binary, you'll see like it's all kind of the same under the hood. So what do they want us to do? Var my data equals my array and get the first value. So again, that's the 0th value. And we're at 35. I said I would look at the chat again a little bit. It does not surprise me that my Twitter is purple. Yes, I try to make all of my stuff as purple as possible. I do need to change some of this up to like, what is it? Change it. I need to, I guess I go into settings and not settings. You can display. You can set it to purple here. And I love to use dark mode on things. It's just so much easier on the eyes. I need to set up this computer with a lot of new stuff on it just because my old computer died. I've lost a lot of stuff. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing live streams instead of the videos, just because like I lost some footage. I lost a lot of my tools. I mean, I still was able to recover some of it, but it's just easy for me to hop onto a live stream, do this code, and chat with you all. It's just so much more engaging for me, especially during this time when like I'm so alone, you're all alone, and we can chat. So let's see. So that's why I did my Twitter purple. Python is a fantastic language to learn. Let's see quickly if FreeCodeCamp has a Python curriculum. It's a little bit harder to learn online. Yeah, so they don't have a Python curriculum just because like JavaScript, everything in your browser is HTML, which we learned the other day, CSS, which just makes everything look pretty and organized and structured, and JavaScript, which allows for interaction. So all code in the browser is JavaScript. So like it's easy to learn JavaScript in the browser because you're already working with it. Python can get a little more complicated, but I'm sure there is like a great way you can learn Python in the browser. And eventually I'm sure I'll do that. I've coded in Python a bunch, so like I'd be happy to do something like this for Python. And let's see. You know, Abby, so you've been out of work for a bit. You know, I think finding a way to like, you're chilling out right now. You're watching code, you're learning a little bit. Like, there's so many like moments when I'm coding that I actually find myself really relaxed. So maybe finding like a fun project to work on, like learning a little bit along the way would be a great like way for you to kind of like fill some of the time that we have right now. Yeah, it's like build yourself up like a fun website like those MySpace days. Okay, Mama. Oh my god, please. I love that you're all typing so much in chat. It makes it so much more fun. Oh, so this is what I was talking about earlier. We can actually change elements in the array with the square brackets. So we do my array. Index 0 wants us to change to 45. So it said we can't do this with strings, but we can totally do this with arrays, which is major thumbs up. Pass the test. Oh my god, why are you doing this? This is so confusing. A multi-dimensional array of arrays. Basically, like if you have the array of arrays, you can kind of you can do nested like queries like this. Do not do this. I would say at most do one array nested in another. So like if you have a grid of pixels or something, like that's fine, but like doing a really nested array is just confusing, unhelpful. I would strongly not recommend it. One moment. Oh my god, we got a retweet from Chloe. Thank you so much. We love Chloe Condon. Huge stan of the channel, and I'm a huge stan of her. So we might get a few new people joining us. Oh my god, thank you for the encouraging messages. It's funny because like I've been coding for probably a decade at this point. Okay, maybe not a decade, like at least like 8 years ish. I don't know. I even saw code. I've probably seen code for a decade, and like I get overwhelmed. Everyone can get overwhelmed by code. Everyone can get overwhelmed by learning. So it's good to just take a moment. It's like I checked Twitter for a second. I wanted to check the chat, and now we can actually like dive in and see what they want us to do. And like, I know it's like this is a confusing page, and I can literally tell you like, don't do this. This isn't going to be something you need to know. So like, I'm just going to skip over it and figure out how to do it. I'm just going to skip down to the like thing they want us to do, and we can go to the next page. Hopefully, we want to go from my array. Use bracket notation to select an element from my array, such that my data is equal to 8. Oh, we don't need to do that. Oh my god. So 0. So I'm going to count in this. So it's 0, 1, 2. That's the first array. And then 0, 1. That's in the second array. Oh my god. Ugh. It's going to be like a 2.5 hour live stream, but that's okay. That is okay. Do we have anywhere to be? No. Oh, so if you want to add things to an array, you can use push, and that will add something to the, what is it? Adds it to the end of an array. So like you made your array with 3 elements, you can add more to it. So we're going to add my array, we're going to push, we're going to push a whole other array, dog 3. And like, again, they're doing a lot of nested arrays, but you don't have to do that. So push is another really common method. It's kind of confusing to like remember it, but you'll kind of learn over time, and you will like, you can just keep looking it up until you remember it, and keep typing it out till you remember it. And now we're going to pop one off of it. We are popping off in this coding challenge. So my array, and you just use .pop with the parentheses. And we're actually calling functions here. We're calling actions by using parentheses. So pop takes this, removes this item from the array, and it's going to get us that value. So like we're removing it and setting something all in one action. We popped off. And then shift. This is one I always forget how it works. I literally look it up every single time I use it, which is not too often. So this just removes the first element from the array. So it's similar to the pop, but it's from the start. And unshift adds something to the front. What does it do? Unshift elements to the beginning. So you're just adding elements to the front of the array. Add Paul 35 my array dot unshift. I'm like already forgetting what we're doing. And you don't need the semicolons in JavaScript. I would recommend them because a lot of other languages use semicolons, but you're not going to run into many issues with semicolons. Create a shopping list in the variable myList. Should be multidimensional, several subarrays. First element should contain a string, and the second should represent the quantity. Okay, so I'm going to add a new line here just for clarity. We're doing a drag shopping list, so we need a wig. We need 100 wigs. Or unless we're Aiden we have maybe 1 or 2. We need a lot of wigs. We need lashes, mama. We need lashes. I'll kind of reuse them, so maybe we'll just use 1. Probably should be using more lashes. I think these are clean, so that's good at least. We did the makeup. Oh, we need so much makeup. We need 999 makeup. We need 5 elements. Oh my god, they are making us work here. Oh, we need looks. We need some looks. I only have 1 look as well. I got my black shirt and my blazer. I like to keep it simple. It's like I got enough going on right here already. And we need a personality. Let's get maybe 2 of these, you know. Run wild. Oh, purple glue stick. Mom, I shaved half my eyebrows off the other day. I mean, you can kind of tell. It's like we're kind of just go with it. Okay, so reusable JavaScript. So like, let's say you do some JavaScript and you want to constantly do it again. You put that in a function. You put a little function in it. Works great. Works magic. Works wonders. So, and then, so you create a function like this, kind of like variables. I don't know. It's kind of, you're going to see this kind of format over time. You say function, the name of the function, the parentheses, curly braces, and then in the curly braces is whatever is happening in your function. And console log, that just like puts something on, it gives you a little bit of output so you can see what's happening. We can call, okay, we're creating a function called reusable function. Function, reusable function. And it prints hello, hi world to the dev console. Console.log. This is our first console.log actually, which is a little crazy. So normally that's like the first thing you do. So nothing's happening right now because we need, this just says what the function is. So if we want to call this, we can do it like that. We can even call it multiple times, which is like a great way. So yeah, here it is. We're going to get it twice because we have it multiple times called. When I saw that you were all chatting with me, so let me give you a little bit of follows for joining in on this stream. I love that I can engage with you all. And parameters, if you want to really make this complicated. So your function, if you want to take an input, so like, let's say you wanted to print my name, or like hi, comma to my name, but you would want to change the name every time. So like, that's what you use the parameter for. Okay, we want to create a function called function with args. Function, you'll kind of see as it happens, except two args and outputs their sum to the dev console. Let's call this arg1, arg2. This is like a boring example. Such a boring example. Abby is taking a bit of a leave, but they might come back. Thank you so much for stopping by and telling us a little bit about yourself. Let me know about your progress. I'm so happy that you were able to join in this chat. Okay, so we want to output arg1 the sum of these. So console.log. This is just like more math they're making us do. So we can do in the parentheses, we can do kind of like a few operations in there. And now we need to call this function with args. And let's add 1 and 2. And we're good. We'll see kind of how far we're going to get with this challenge. The good kind of arguments to have. Oh, mama. Mama, we love that. This is like, what's happened? Like, did something break? Oh, good. Oh. Okay. So global scope and global scope and functions. Oh, got a little text. Just scope. Basically, like some variables can be seen by others. So it's like if you put a variable inside of your function, it can be used in the function. But if you put it outside, then like it can be used by all functions, or it can be used in lots of different ways. So it's good to put these kind of like variables that are going to get used a lot at the top of the page, so you know that they're there. So using var, create my global. I'm looking right here outside of any function and initialize it with 10. So then in function 1, assign 5 to oops global. What's oops global? Without using, did they define oops global somewhere? Oops global. I guess they're not defining it. So oops global is going to be one of those undefined variables which we saw earlier. Oops global is 5 without using the var keyword. So in here, I feel like the magic's really happening in function 2. So they're kind of doing all that string concatenation, which is great. And they're checking a type in an if statement, which we will see momentarily. And this actually looks a lot like functions, so it's good if you kind of know about functions. So oops global is undefined. It wouldn't print it out, but now that it's defined, it can print it out. Local scope. So you have those variables up top, but in a function, you can also create new variables, and they're not going to be accessible outside of that. So what does it want us to do? So in my local scope, where is it? My local scope is up here. Create var my var equals Anna is amazing. Anna is amazing. My voice has really been shot lately. Anna is amazing. I think I can't go falsetto right now. I think it's just like allergies are really getting to me, and that's just frustrating because I love to sing up here, but I can't sing up there right now. Okay, so Anna is amazing. So we're setting this in this function, and then we're calling it. So it's going to console log it here, but then afterwards it's going to try to console log it, and it is not going to be there. Okay, what did it want us to do? Run the test and follow the instructions. Let's also follow these instructions. So run and check. Oh, so yeah, we're also seeing the my var is not defined because of this. So and we also have to remove that. I mean, it worked anyway, so it's like we don't really need to test it like that. My var is not defined outside a local scope. Okay, whatever. Pass, we're good. We're moving on. Moving on. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. Moving on. Okay. Moving on. Okay, we're getting a little better. We're getting a little bit better. Maybe I'll record some singing TikToks after this. Global scope versus local in functions. Okay, so like let's say you have the same variable in here. In global scope, which is outside the function, and then inside, it's going to kind of like mess it up. So, or what does it do? What actually does it do? So local is always going to take precedence over here. So here they set it to hat, but it ends up it's going to end up being head here. And we're also seeing our first return in a function. So let's say you return something in a function. Like if you called a function and said like var a equals that function, a is going to get set to whatever you returned. Okay, so add a local variable to my outfit to override the value of outerwear with sweater. So outerwear equals var, what is it? What is the deal? So because we're calling var again, it's creating a totally different one. Equals sweater. Is that all? Okay. That was not a good lesson. I didn't like that one. Return a value from a function with return. Literally, I just went over this, so we are good. We are good. I'm going to speed through this one. Function times 5 accepts one argument, number, and multiplies it by 5 and returns that value. So we can do return number times 5. And see the last line in the editor, for example, how we can test the times 5. So we could do console.log. Console.log is a great way to kind of see like what's happening in your code times 5. So like maybe like it works for 1. So it works for 1. Does it work for 1.1? It works for 1.1. Give me a coding challenge and I will certainly give you what you like. Oh, good night, Bruno. I didn't even know you were in the chat. Well, thank you for stopping by. This is going to be available to watch later, so you can always pick it up, watch at 2x speed, check in whenever. Like, why not? You know, you throw it on in the background, build up my view counts. We love that. For me. So a function can have a return statement, but it doesn't have to. And so it just returns undefined. So create a function, add 5, function add 5 that adds 5 to the sum variable. Sum plus equals 5. I'm using that compound numbers, but it's not returning anything, and that's okay. That is okay, mama. I think we might stop at 50%. We'll see. Let me know in the chat if you'd want me to keep going. Because it's already been a fairly long stream, but, you know, I don't got anywhere to be. Assignment, because I will pick this up maybe next week or something, so we're going to cover it either way. Assignment with a returned variable, or return value. Oh, I was also fully saying this. So call process arg with 7 and return and set it to process. We don't even need to copy that. Processed. You use the arrow keys to get the right whatever. Do I know how to spell? No. Processed equals process R. Blech. Process arg. Okay. Call it with 7. This is a great technique to know about, just like making functions and setting them to stuff. Okay, I do want to check. You know, more people are coming. People are definitely sharing this out, so I figure like, why not keep going? Going steady, going strong. They really love to fling so much code at you, but you know, they have 300 hours of content on this website, so it's like, of course they're gonna fling content at you, you know? A queue. Oh, mom, if you know about Netflix, you got your queue. Although I don't even think they do that anymore. It's just like you got a list of videos you want to watch and you're going to watch them in order. And you add videos to that order. It's like you want to watch the ones you added first and then keep going through it one at a time. So that's what a queue is. And that's kind of like what a queue data structure in code is and what it is in JavaScript. So we have to write a function next in line. Okay, they already gave us that, which is fabulous. And the number, what is it? And it takes a number item as arguments. Okay, that's already done. Add the number to the end of the array and then remove the element from the first of the array. Okay, so array dot push to add items to the end of the array, and then we're returning, what are we returning? Next in line should return the element that's removed. So then we're doing array dot shift to get that last one, and I think that is good. Yeah, we are doing it. Doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. Give me a code in. Give me some code in, and I'll do it all. I'll do it all. I'm a full out mess. I will say one of the best times of when I do recording sessions for my videos, like the later in the session, the more wild I am, and we're at that mark. We are fully at that mark. Oh, Amitai is going. Thank you so much again for stopping by, everybody. Really, it is so fun to have you in the chat. I love to answer your questions. I want to work on projects that are relevant to you and answer specific questions that you have. Boolean values. Okay, so we just did like something really complicated with like a queue, or that kind of queue type to use an array, and now they're going us to the most basic of Boolean values to be true or false. And these are kind of special words in code or in JavaScript, and they're all lowercase, and we don't use quotes with them. So welcome to Boolean, so we should return true instead of false. So returns true. And that's all they want us to do. Bam. Booleans come up all the time. I hope they give us a bunch of these. Okay, great. And conditions. If statements, these come up in every programming language because sometimes you want to do something based on an input someone gives you based on, I don't know. So a great way to do is check if that variable is true or compare it to something and see if that is true. So we do if some, what are these, in parentheses and then curly braces. And in this function, we can actually conditionally return something. So like if it's true, we can return saying that it's true. And if it's false, we can return saying it's false. This is a very complex example, which is great. Those are really like letting you see kind of realistic code. But I don't know if it ramped up too quickly or it ramps up too slowly. Let me know your thoughts if you are viewing any of this or going through it yourself for the first time. Okay, so create an if statement inside the function to return yes, that was true. Okay, I'm copying this string because that's the easiest way to work with. So if was that true, and how do we do this? So we don't even have to, because it's if, I think I went back a page by mistake. Let's go forward. Okay, we're good. We are good. If was that true, and then we do console. Does it want us to return it or does it want us to output it? I guess it wants us just to return it, so that's all very much easier than console logging it. Return. Yes, that was true. Otherwise, return. No, that was false. And we can have both of these return statements. I'm sure this will be the next lesson. We have both these return statements. And normally you're only going to be able to return one thing, but because we return here, it stops the whole function. It does not continue on. So yeah, if you've got something that isn't just like a true or false, then you can compare using two equal signs. So if you're checking if a number is 10 or checking if your value is 10, you would use two equal signs. And there are some complicated ways that you'll need to learn later. It's like 1 and the string 1 are true, but and the string 3 is true, and it can get complicated in JavaScript, whereas in Java or other programming languages, this would fully not be acceptable and it would not work. So when val is equal to 12, we'll do equals 12 and strict equality. So this is kind of what they were saying. So this also will check if it's the same type. So 3 is not the same as the string 3. So check if val is strictly equal to 7, and it's not even loosely equal to 7. So now let's do a quick review. We don't need to do a quick review if we just did it, but okay. And we can get the type of something if we need to. So compare the two values and only compare them when they're strictly equal. So I think we just need to do that. Okay, that was a very easy challenge. And then inequality, this also comes up a ton because if it's not true, maybe you want to do it that way. Maybe that way it's going to make your code clearer. So you just do the exclamation mark equals. And there's also strict inequality. So if you do exclamation mark equals, I'm sure that's the next lesson. For 99. I feel like I could write these myself. I know what's coming up. And what does it want us to compare this to? To 17. I think I typically use strict equals, so the 3 equal signs or the 2 equal signs with the exclamation mark. Just because it's a little bit safer when you're writing production code. All right, so comparisons. This is kind of another math thing, but this is really useful for let's say you're asking someone's age. It's are you over 18? Can you go to this website? And you'd use a less than or greater than sign. I don't remember which is which, and it kind of just matter. The order doesn't matter because you can just swap the order of the numbers. But always remember, we've got the whichever one is bigger, you want to use the Pac-Man face to help you remember it better. So that's val is over 100. So oh my god, like my keys are not working. So val is greater than 100, and then if val is over 10. And this is kind of nice. You see, like val is still over 10 up here, but if it's not over 100, it's not gonna it'll only return one of those things. It's not outputting it. Okay. Some more water. We're probably gonna need to do a refill soon. Greater than or equals to, I mean, this is kind of just the same as in math. So it's 20 or over, and this is 10 or over. This comes up a lot too, just as much as greater than or less than. I don't know why we don't need to do both. It's kind of you can just mix up the order and it's totally fine to do it in any way. So we'll just speed through these under 35, but if you're working through it, it's a great way just to, under 55. Even I mess up when I'm speeding through things. It's a great way just to typing it out will help you learn it better, 100%. Because that's how you're actually going to do code. So if you're not typing it, you're not gonna get these techniques down. And they've reversed the order here. So we had the bigger number up top first for our if statement, and here it's done the other way to make sure that because it's always going to be smaller than or equal to 24 if it's smaller than 12. So it goes in order of you've written. The code goes in the order that it's written in. Sometimes we need to test more than one thing at a time. So you would use the and operator for this. This comes up a ton. There's so many conditions. Because you could do all these nested if statements, but don't do that. Well, there are times when you might want to use that if you have a lot of blocks and there's more code in between. You could do it, but if it's just like this, then you might as well try using this and operation, the ampersand, 2 if statements. And so what does it want us to do? 2 if statements return yes if val is less than. I'm just going to get rid of this first one. So if val is less than or equal to 50 and val is greater than or equal to 25. So it's between 50 and 25. And you can do the same with this or operator. It is the same as the backslash that we use for escaping all of those strings when we were doing quotes. You just have to hold shift and you'll get that pipe operator, or just the vertical line is much easier to remember. Vertical line, so combine the 2 if statements. Oh, so here it's this if statement's doing the same thing, so it's might as well just have one of them. Val is, outside of val is between 10 and 20. Okay, so they're making us work for this. So it's greater than or equal to 10, or val is less than or equal to 20. I think I have mixed up all of this. Okay, let's just flip the numbers and see if that works. Between 10 inclusive. Oh, so maybe it doesn't want us to use these. Okay, we're good. We are good. We're good. We're GG good. Else statements. Okay, else statements are a great way. It's if statements with those were great because we were returning something in them, or our function was over. But let's say you want to keep doing stuff after that function or after the if statement. You want to use an else, and it gives you the opposite effect. So here we can just do else and copy this in, and I think we're good to go. Else if statements, I don't love these, but they can be kind of useful for you to know about. So it just adds another condition to that for loop. So it's like you can still do the else, but you can also still do like another condition. And like these are the same. So it's like you're really checking both of these conditions like at the same time. Oh, we need 2 else statements. I guess we need to put this in else 2. Okay. And the order is important. So yeah, this is kind of what I was saying. So it's like here, x is less than 1, but like x is also less than 2. So it's kind of like what I was saying about the order operations you were doing before. And switching it like will totally change it up. Change the order so it'll return the correct things. Okay, so less than 5. So we probably want to do less than 5 here and less than 10 here. We are 64% of the way complete. We've got 36% of the left. We are trucking through this. This is great. There's so much here. Like totally fantastic that we are able to get through so much code. Oh my god, Kara Swisher did like that tweet. Oh my god, thank you, Kara Swisher. Hi. I hope you come check out the stream one day. Huge fan, huge stan of your work. Would love a follow. You know, if anyone knows her, wants to make that happen, would love to see it happen. Shading if else statements. So you can, I guess you can just like add a ton of if else statements. Oh my god, this is stupid. This is a stupid thing. You're not really gonna need to do stuff like this. They're just being annoying here because they want you to try to write a lot of like if else statements, but we're gonna power through it. It's okay. So if num is less than 5, return tiny. If I keep messing up where my keyboard is. Num is less than 10, return small, teeny tiny, small. I have much more fun examples of if statements on Beyond Binary, which you can check out free on YouTube. It's just me going over computer science. I will plug it till the end of time because it is that good. Return medium. If you're ever making shirts and want to make one of my face on it, I'm a medium. Okay. Or if you're telling the future, I'm a medium. Large, and then 20 is large and in charge. And then the last one is return huge. Oh my god. It's like, that's like a workout. Just like writing all those if statements. Okay, we did it. It's like, don't make people do stuff like that. No, I don't like that as like a coding challenge. That's just like not anything exciting. It's like, oh, we're doing different sizes. Girl, okay, whatever. In the game of golf. Golf? You think I know golf? What? We're gonna do a lipstick application. Which one's my... I just cannot, like... You know, this lipstick makes my lips tingle a little bit. I wonder if that's, like, bad. It's like, it's kind of nice. It's just really shiny. Maybe I'm allergic to it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Okay, so golf, it's basically different scores, I guess, based on different, like, amounts. I really hope they're not going to make us learn how to do this. Okay. We're all going to, like, pray through that so we can figure out the sports enough. And not that you can't do drag or be LGBTQ and do sports, but like, that's not my zhush. And maybe there are a lot of you learning to code that are not interested in sports at all. So it'd be cool if like we could have more fun examples I wonder if I can like make a copy of FreeCodeCamp and change it to more fun examples. That would be fabulous. So we have a function which is par and strokes. Okay, so if strokes equals 1, we're gonna just take it one at a time. It's given us this nice array, so we can, or it's given us this nice like table, so we can like persevere. Else if strokes, and I guess this is good because they're kind of using two variables in these if statements. Strokes is less than equal to par minus 2. Return eagle. Ooh, I'm triggered like thinking about all those eagle gay bars in every city that is closed right now. But I'm sure we will all be able to go back if we all social distance and stay safe. Strokes is equal to par minus 1. And return birdie. Birdie. Bye bye birdie. Okay, there's a musical Bye Bye Birdie, but I don't think that's one of the songs. Strokes. I guess I want to do triple equals just to be safe. Strokes equals par plus 1. Oh my god, it's like putting me through the ringer. Copying these if statements just because it's like, why not? It's like if you're making someone write this much code. Wait, so it's par plus. Oh, it's just par plus 1. Oh my god, we're doing golf here. Like, FreeCodeCamp, you gotta step up your game. We should do like a whole lip sync FreeCodeCamp. Double bogey. Bogey? Bogey? I hardly know you. Okay, then else. Go home. If you're bad at sports, you should go home. What kind of message are we sending to the children? If you're bad at sports but love them, play them. Oh my god. And it's like we get 1% for that. That's like, it's like they're testing me. They are really testing me today. Switch statements. This is really the way you'd want to do it if you have a ton of things that are like an if else, or I guess it's kind of more complicated than if else. It's if else, but you're only doing like equals. So it's great to do. You got a bunch of different letters. The formatting for it is confusing, I'll say, because you do case. So okay, so you do switch. So it's like if statement. So if whatever your kind of like variable you're checking on, the curly braces, and then you do case to check the different variables. This is something you can look up over and over again because like it doesn't come up very often, and it's like very different than most other things with JavaScript. So we're going to just copy this in to make sure like we don't have to write it all out. Switch statements should test the value val and answer sets the answer for these conditions. Okay, so switch on Valerie Cherish. Thank you. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I crack myself up. All right, Mary. Case 1. And are we returning? So that's answer. We're setting answer. So answer equals alpha. And then you have a break here, so it like knows to stop. So I'm actually gonna just like go all the way down with these. I'm gonna copy this 1 to 5 just so it's like we gotta copy in that new line. 5, 2, 3, 4. You know me, I am a copy paste queen. I didn't even need 4. I didn't even need 5, so that's frustrating, but we'll get over it. Run the tests. Bam! We're in. We're good. We cracked. We got the code. We got the code. you may be able to specify. Okay, so you can't specify all of it, and you might not know all the values for the switch statement, so you just use default, and then it captures everything else. It's kind of like the else statement. Again, we have to do another huge switch. In FreeCodeCamp, I'm not loving this. I'm not loving this. As your like intro to code, it's like not the most exciting thing. Okay, so now we're switching on a string, so we have to use quotes. And what are we setting? We're setting answer equals apple. I'll copy this down again. Let me actually include the new line. Or I think I have it. Okay. A, and then we'll have default. A, bird. A little bird. Hey, little bird. See, little cat. Meow, 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 meow. Answer equals stuff. We're just looking at some stuff. And we got it. Multiple identical options in switch data. Oh, I didn't even know you could do this. Oh, so you just do colon. This is, I guess, why the break helps, because if you don't have it, then it'll make everything work on that. Okay. So we're doing a switch on val. We can copy this in again. So 1, 2, 3 will return. Oh, Hillary, I didn't even know you were in. Yes, please come check on the rest of this when it's up. Watch it at 2 times speed if you would like. Thank you so much for stopping by. So glad to have you. Result equals low, and yeah, you can follow along if you're working on the, or if you're learning to code. 4, 5, 6. Mid. And I don't want to forget the break, otherwise I'm literally going to just have everything be returning. 7, 8, 9. I hope they are done with some of these longer challenges. Oh, I need break. Am I supposed to return it? Oh, answer. It's not result. They are getting tricky with us over here. We're through. Replacing if-else statements with a switch. Okay, yeah, so what I was saying is like you can do a switch if you're checking explicitly only equals equals. So switch val, and then we do the opening and closing, and this can get really, this can get hairy. This could be a hairy queen over here. So instead of if-else, we're gonna do case Bob, get rid of this stuff. And this is really the power of like this switch statement, this case, is it's like, oh yeah, this is so much cleaner, so much easier to read and to type. And now here we'll just write case. I'm gonna do this for all these at once. Sometimes you're doing a lot of code, it's easier to just like do each step at the same time for like each thing. So that's like that. We got the colon, and then we need our break. Give me a break at that Kit Kat bar. I'm like so off with all my theme songs today. Oh, okay. Something missed by this much. Did I mess this one up? I think I added a new line there by accident, but we're good. Phew, we got through it. We're crushing it. We're coding. We're feeling this. Returning Boolean values from functions. So you can return any value with a function by doing return, but like we love a shortcut in code to make things clearer. Like this is maybe clear, but like this is really clear. It's so much shorter. It is so precise. We love it. And it's like, instead of all this, 4 or 5 lines of code, we can just write return A less than B. Bam. Now we're good. We are sickening. 70% through, 30% to go. Return early. So if you return, anything that happens after the return doesn't happen. What are they? So, okay, what does it want us to do? Modify A/B test. So A and B are less than, if A and B are less than 0, if A is less than 0 or B is less than 0, it's good to just do one thing at a time. Don't get overwhelmed. Just read one instruction at a time. The function will immediately exit with a value of undefined. So would you return undefined? And actually, we don't even need to use undefined, because if it's, we just say return, that's all that'll happen. And is that good? All right, bam. Okay, and blackjack. Okay, this is kind of fun. Gambling, you know. If someone, a young person, is learning to code, and we want to just give them the message that gambling is good, what a great message. I'm like reading FreeCodeCamp to Phil in this video, in this live stream, but you know, I gotta keep it like it is. So you're counting cards, you do +1. Basically, when you're counting cards, I'd read through this, like, if you won't care. If you care. This is not about code, this is about card counting. But maybe you're into that. Basically, you just have to kind of keep track of, like, the count by, like, certain cards are better for you to see and certain cards are worse. Can I skip this one? I'm going to FreeCodeCamp. I'm skipping this one. This one looks actually complicated. Not complicated. It's fine if we do complicated stuff, but it's like hard parameter. I think this one is just like, this is going to be a great one for you at home to do. That's what this is, the one for you at home to work on, to try it out and work through that. So we're going to scroll all the way here. And yeah, so that's going to be a great challenge for yourself. We're skipping over that. We're going to do build JavaScript objects. So that's a great way of, like, let's say you were following along with this. I should probably put this early on. It's like some of those math ones, maybe you don't care to do them, or some of those if-else ones, like, just skip over them by going to the main page. Maybe eventually you'd want to do them, but for now, we don't have time. I mean, we have time to do them, but, like, girl, it's getting late. So we're doing JavaScript objects, and this is actually something I did not get to in Beyond Binary. It's not something I got to in Beyond Binary, but it's still so useful. It's probably one of the most useful things in code. You can just store so much information in it. Use curly braces. You say variable equals curly braces, and then set all these properties. You do property : name. And you can store all sorts of different types in here. It's just like so much information. So we're making a dog, which contains the name. And we can set them to whatever we want, except they have to be a string. So maybe there's poppers. That'll be the name. Then we use comma to separate each line. So we're able to, like, name our properties. We can put this in quotes. We don't have to put it in quotes. I like it better out of quotes. Legs, maybe it has 10 legs. It's a little bit of a spider dog. Or it could be 8 legs with spider dog. Tails, just one tail might be good. And and friends. And then friends is an array. So what is this going to be? So friends will be Anna is one of the friends. Maybe Abby, who was in the stream earlier, is a friend. That's kind of, just 2 friends for the dog is enough. So you can access different things or different properties in the object using a dot. So that's kind of how we were calling functions. We were doing like array.pop. So that was like so you can actually make like a function inside of an object and call it like that, but we're just getting the properties for now. So we want to get the hat value. So we do dot hat, and then we can do, for the shirt, we get dot shirt. And then we're good. We can also access them with the square notation. And there's certain, it kind of depends. I would say play around with it. Try to stay consistent. there might be reasons where you would need to use the square braces, and that's actually, they show you right here. You could put a name in your property, but I wouldn't recommend doing it, but like maybe there's a reason you need to do it. So if you use square brackets, you're able to put any kind of like spaces that you want to deal with, but not really recommended for like good code. Oh, become a supporter. Definitely support this if you can. They have so much free content, so as much as I love to drag them, they are très helpful. Accessing object properties with variables. What is all this? So you could use... Oh, so they're basically just saying you can use different variables to like get certain things. Okay. That's kind of like maybe a little intuitive, but like just seeing it out like is going to help your brain see all the different combinations of like things you could do. So player number equals 16, and then we're looking up player number. So this is great. Like if we want to change player number here and or reuse this in a bunch of places, we're good. Updating object properties. So like with arrays, we saw we could do this by using, I guess we can use dot or square notation to update them. So my dog, and we just set it using the equal sign. So we're saying it's naming name. We're giving it a rename. Oh, and we're changing her name. I guess it is a gendered dog. Okay, doesn't have pronouns in there. Would be chic if they had that. And yeah, we're just setting with dot notation. And if we want to add a new property, we can do it the same way we would set it, or we can also use square brackets. I again love just using the dot notation because it's just so much shorter, so much cleaner. Woof. 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 It's like a little puppers. And deleting properties from object. This isn't super common, but like you never know when it could come up. So you just call delete, and we're deleting tails because maybe we'll just assume they all have one tail. Oh, what do we have to do? We have to delete the property tails. Oh, that's our dog, but we're deleting it from my dog. My dog, because my dog is a good dog. Girl, my voice is not there. Objects can be thought of as key value storage. If you have tabular data, you could swish. Oh yeah. So this is like it's kind of like a dictionary. Like you've used a dictionary before. You've used Merriam-Webster. You look up something and there's a page. You look up the word code. You look up the word drag and you'll see definitions in there. So from the number to like the definition. So here they're doing an alphabet in terms of which number is which letter, but they're doing it in reverse. Okay, weird flex, but okay. So we're converting it into an object called lookup. Switch statement into this object. Oh, this is annoying. And assign. What does it want us to do? Convert object called lookup. So var lookup equals array. So let's just kind of like go through this. Alpha, and this is going to be atoms, and so semicolon, comma, bam. Next case, Bravo, new line. This is going to be Boston, comma. Okay, this is actually working fast. Using some keyboard momentum to get us through this. This is maybe another one I would skip if you're just going through this, but it could be good just to learn, to see it all play out and to see like how much cleaner this is. Echo. Girl, it's like you couldn't just do like 3 letters. That would have gotten the point across. Foxtrot. Okay. And then we get rid of the semicolon, and then now it's all on here. And we want to use our val as our lookup. So we're accessing it here. You can't do dot val, so you have to use the square notation. I guess that's what the lesson was saying last time. I just didn't really think about it. Why didn't it work? Oh, we're looking in, wait, what is it doing? Oh, I guess it wants us to only set result up there. Okay. We can comply to the instructions. Result equals lookup val. Okay. Took us a moment, but we got there. So maybe you have your object and you want to see if it has a property. So like maybe you had that dog and we deleted tail, so you can't get the tails anymore. So you just use this has own property method. Okay, so we're deleting this because it's set to change it. Check object to see object dot has own property check prop. This is kind of silly because just calling the same function. Okay, wait, so we're going to use this as an if statement. Return. Okay. So if object has own property, so we've got an if statement. Then what are we going to do? We're going to return, we'll return the value. Okay, so that's kind of an interesting way to do it. Return object check prop. So that's a good way to make sure, like, am I getting this value, or am I going to return something useful, or am I going to like have an error? And here's a good way to like error handle in like a good way. And it has to be not found capitalized. Probably like they could do some case. They don't need to do the case like that. Okay, they've got a complex object. Yeah, mama, all these objects have been complex. Like they're putting us through the ringer. It's like I didn't work out today, and like this is my like mental workout today. So sometimes we're showing data in this. So here there's like a lot of different data. So okay, so our music, so we're basically making a list or an array of objects. That's kind of like a cool way. You're going to see this a ton. Like if you've got a list of people, there'll be a list of objects. You can have lots of information. This is super useful for you to kind of know about. And there's also mentioned here JSON. So what is this? So JSON is just JavaScript object notation, but it is a super common way to store data. And you'll encounter it all the time when you're coding. So that's something good for you to know about. So where are we? So an array and these and a value of def pung. So basically JSON is just a JavaScript object. So this one object is JSON. You could consider it as JSON. And you could make a JSON file by just making a file that was like only this data, or like only this, including the curly braces, and calling it like data.json. So we add a comment there to separate our list items in our array, as we saw. And what's the challenge? It wants us to create a new album. So artist, mama should be Gaga. It could be Gaga. Okay. Title, stupid love. I want your stupid love, love. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, we're gonna need some water. Release year 2020 triggered. Triggered. Format. What kind of format? Okay, I'm copying their formats because like I don't know what formats is coming out. Let's just pretend those are the formats. Good. Nested objects. So this is kind of the same as nested arrays. This does come up a lot, so much more than nested. Nested. What are these? This comes up. Sorry, I was just checking to see we're still. This comes up so much more than nested object or nested arrays, because you just constantly have nested JSON JavaScript objects. So access. Okay, access my storage object and assign the contents of glove box to the car. We want car dot inside dot. I guess we have to do glove box in quotes here. Glove box. So that's good. You're actually going to encounter so many nested objects like that, and like it can get really tricky. So it's good for you to kind of know about that. And here they're combining everything like this again. So yeah, they're actually showing like there's so many different ways to combine all these things. So okay, so what does it want us to do? Retrieve the second tree from the variable myPlants. So we want myPlants. We're accessing something from myPlants, and we want the second object. So that would be 0, 1 for the second object. And retrieve the second tree from the variable myPlants. Oh, okay. We want second object because that's trees. And then we want to do the dot list to get the list of trees. And then we also want the second tree, which is pine. So that's 0, 1. I think that's good. Okay, so we're given a huge JSON object. You know, I think this is another one of those like challenges I am gonna fully leave at home for you to do. Let's refresh our progress to see all this. We have done 90 out of 110 challenges. So we are fully crushing it. And now we're gonna do iterations. And we have just maybe 20 more challenges to get through. And we're sickening, we're crushing it, we're killing it, we're doing so well. I'm so happy to have you still here. If you're watching, leave a message in the chat, say hi, say hello. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for joining in. If you're watching the video and coming in at this very moment, shout out to you. So we can run the same code multiple times by using a loop. This is great if we're calling a function a lot, or it's just like you're constantly going to be doing code a ton of times, and like if you can make it simpler, that's great. So they show us using a while loop here, which is like an if statement. So instead of if, you do while, and then you have a condition. So we'll do a while loop 5 times by doing it like that. So we're going to add the numbers 5 through 0 in descending order to my array with a while loop. So we're going to do while. Let's also do var I equals 0. I is less than 5. Okay, yeah, I is less than 5. We're gonna do my array. Oh, I guess they fully wrote it out. I just wasn't reading what they wrote. My array, not concat, push I. And then I plus plus to kind of go to the next one. Oh, and we have to do less than or equals, or we could do less than 6. Either way, we'll get the same result. Oh, I guess it won't work for the test. They're being a little tricky. Wait. What is my array? Oh, maybe I need to do shift to add to the front. Should I try again? What is my array? Let's do console.log my array. This is a great way to kind of see like what's actually happening. Well, oh, maybe we want to do unshift. Oh my god. That was a challenge for me. And iterate with a for loop. So a while loop is great if you have some kind of condition. There are conditions with a little like iffy there. There are definitely better conditions you can use a while loop for. But for something like that where you know I want to do this n number of times, I want to do this 10 times, I want to do this 5 times, you'll use a for loop. And the structure looks a little confusing, but if you think back to what we just did for our while loop, we set a variable, we said, well, it's less than 5, I plus plus. So you can just do that all in one line with a for loop, and it's great. It like simplifies things, and you'll learn this format over time. I talk about it in Beyond Binary. Can't stop talking about that because it was so good, and we really dive in depth into like what's happening there. But for now, it's like type it out. Like you'll understand the format over time. You kind of know what it is from that while example, but you'll memorize it eventually. And that should equal 1, 2, 3, 4. So what is this? Because we're starting at 0, so we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we want to go all the way up to less than or equal to. And this is just any kind of condition. So we can do less than, we can do less than or equal to, and we're good. Odd numbers with a for loop. So this is, now they're getting tricky. Okay. So basically, instead of just doing +1 or plus, we can do I plus equals 2. So now they want us to do myArray.push I, and we're starting at 1 this time instead of 0, because we want to do odd numbers. Odd numbers, mama. I'm an odd number mama. And that's good. For loop can also count backwards. So this is all, everything we learned is kind of coming together with these for loops. We're setting variables. We are doing a conditional check, and we're doing that compound math that we learned about earlier. And it's like, you see like, oh, if I'm doing it in a for loop, then like it's an easy or interesting way to like use that. Let me do myArray.push I. So I go 9 through 1. So we start at 9 to 1. I think that's it. Okay, perfect. Through an array with a for loop. This is like chef's kiss. I don't know how to do the chef's kiss. Wow. I need a soundboard for my stream. This is it's great. You have all those songs and you want to iterate through them and do something each time. Print it out, change something. You're gonna want to iterate through that list. So let's see what they do. So they set that variable to get the 0th element, which is the first element, and then they use the length. So they're getting that length. Oh my god. Hi S Lopez. Where you been? You gotta chat. We gotta join the chat. Tell me about yourself. Tell me what's up. Where's the stream? We only got like 10% more left to this coding challenge, so come on in. Let's tell me what's the tea. So like, who are you? Why do you want to learn to code? Do you know how to code? Why do you like me? What's the deal? Okay, so we're doing for, I'm going to type this out, var I equals 0. And what does it want us to do actually? Initialize the variable total to 0. Use a for loop to add the value. So we're basically going to be doing a total. So that's kind of cool. That's like something if you're doing a sum of all the items in this array. myArray.length. And then I plus plus. So we're back to I plus plus, not doing like +2. And then we need to set a variable outside. It's kind of like a global variable. Total equals 0. So it starts out at 0 and not undefined. Total plus equals myArray at I. And let me clean this up so it's clearer, because this is a little complicated. So we're plus equaling total, so we're going to add 2, 3, 4, and we're accessing the array with square brackets. We can't access arrays with dot notation because it'll just get confused. I think that's it. Okay, good. What do you say? You're a simple gal, you see code plus drag, and you watch. Well, hi, it's me, the coding queen. You got me. Nesting loops. This is kind of what I was saying, is like, if you're nesting your arrays, then you have to like do weird nested loops like this, and it's such a pain. They do say it's like when you're doing nested loops, you kind of want to make your first one go as I and your second one as J, which is like common notation, but whatever. I really, again, don't recommend doing 2 loops or 2 arrays because it's just more of a pain. And they're doing more math. It's like, girl, we don't want to do all these math problems. It's like, I didn't sign up for this calculus class. It's like, I did enough of that in college. Okay, modify multiply all. So multiplies the product by each number in the subarrays. Okay, so we're copying this because ideally that's how we're doing it. Let me move this over to the side just so because there's a lot of stuff happening here. Is there a format? Format document. Great. Wish I'd known about that earlier. So we've got our nested loop, and we're going over all the arrays first. So we're going to just get this full object, get this full object, and get this full object, and then we're going to do each one individually. So product times equals, we're kind of using, again, this compound notation they brought up like 100 lessons ago. Oh my God. Product equals array. And we actually, we pass in the array I, and then array j. It's like a whole lot of hubbub for like, whatever. Iterate with do while. We're going to skip this lesson because don't use a do while loop. Like, don't do that. It's not good. Not good. Like, don't do that. Don't do zoe. I'm like, we're skipping more and more as we go. Okay, so now we're doing recursion. Oh my God. Recursion is so complicated. But it's good. It's good. We've, like, think about how far we've built up. We are like coding legends at this point. We know so much. We're like 2 hours and 20 minutes in the stream. If you've made it this far, you're a legend. You're an icon. You're a diva. You better work. Send me an email so I can cheer you on. Because, like, that's what's up. You're killing it. I have so many cookies after this. You don't even know. You don't even know. So recursion is just calling itself. It's Inception. You see the movie Inception? I didn't see it. I don't even know what's up. It's like something inside of something inside of something. And it gets a little like tricky, but it totally doesn't come up in common coding. It comes up in more advanced algorithms that you might be doing or more hardcore solving coding problems. But it's good for you to know. It is definitely something that comes up in intro computer science, beginner to code. So you can learn it. You'll be fine. You'll get over yourself and your fears. You got it. So recursion is when you can express a function in terms of itself. So I'm just going to read this because I don't know if I can even explain it that well myself. So let's start by thinking about the following task. If we multiply the first n elements of an array to create a product of those elements, we use a for loop. So we could do it like this. Okay. So product equals 1. We just did this. And we multiply by each element of the array, and then we do it. But we see multiply array of n equals multiplying the array of n minus 1 n minus 1. So it's basically saying, like, doing this whole for loop is the same, or like this whole function is the same as like calling this function on like, let's say you have 4 elements in the array. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So calling that function is the same as calling that function on 1, 2, 3 times what is it? Times the array of 4. So it's like, because you can do it like that, and like identifying this is definitely a hard thing to do. So we're just going to do it, and like you can see how it works, and then eventually you'll be able to identify like where it can come up. So instead of doing that as a for loop, if we call, I'm moving this over to the side, instead of doing it as a for loop, we call the function, and if there are no elements in here, so this is our base case, so that's where we started. So we started at 1. So if you have nothing in there, we give it you a 1. Otherwise, we're going to do multiply. We're going to call multiply on the first, or actually, so what I want to correct myself, it's not calling, so it's multiply, so I'm just calling that m for now. Multiply is the same as calling multiply on these first 3 times that last one, not times the array of that last one. So because of this, that's basically what they're doing over here. They're getting 1, 2, 3, they're getting the array for only up to 1, 2, 3, and then getting that last element and multiplying it. So they're just going to kind of build this long chain and do it like that. So what do they want us to do? So they want us to do a recursive sum that returns the sum of the first n elements of an array R. So we're just doing a sum instead of multiplication. So we need our base case. So if n is less than 0, so that means there are no elements in the array. We're calling this with nothing. We return 1 like they do. Else we do return sum of the R n minus 1 because we're taking out the length, and then we're doing plus array at n minus 1, not times. And maybe you're paying attention, maybe you are a little bit of a math person too, you'll notice I did something wrong here. Now when I run the test, it's actually going to give us something wrong. All of our results are off by 1 because when we're multiplying, you multiply something by 1, it keeps the same value, but if you're adding, you want to add a 0 to keep the same value. I got a little tricky there with you all. You know. Just kind of being wild. Oh, wow. Oh, so now they're giving us the Harry Potter and the Shrug and the fun examples. Oh, wow, we worked so hard. Thank God we actually get something fun. So we're creating a lookup profile. So it's going to take a name and a property as arguments. Oh, so it's giving us like a long challenge. So we're creating a lookup function. Okay, already gave us the lookup function. Takes the name and the property. It's to check if the name is an actual context first name. And given property prop, and given property prop is a I needed a second. Hold on. I need more water. I'll be back in literally 2 seconds. If you're not staying hydrated, then you are what? You're not doing drag. We stand. We stand a hydrated queen. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so we want to check if name is an actual context first name. So here are all these contacts. So basically, I think what we want to do is, I'm going to read through all the instructions. They're giving us a lot of instructions. I actually want to see generate random numbers. We're going to do this as our last challenge because I think a lot of the other ones are really good ones to do on your own. I think they're kind of more like kind of final challenges. So I think we're going to review everything we learned today in this final challenge, our last challenge of the day. We got so much learned today, and now we're going to be able to use it to create this lookup profile script. So we check if there's an we want to find if there's a person in this list that matches the name we get. So is Akira in this? Then is the property that they gave a property of that contact? If both of these things are true, return the value of that property. And then here are some other cases. So what we're doing is we want to look through this whole list to find our person. So let's start by doing a for loop. For var I equals 0, I is less than, what is it? What do we call this? These are contacts. So we're going to go through all the contacts, length. And then I plus, welcome, you're joining us for our final challenge. We're looping through all these contacts. What is it? Oh, we need a semicolon here, not a comma. I've been coding for almost a decade and I still mess up a for loop. So don't worry if that's kind of your zhush, you mess it up. No big deal, no big whoop, whatever. No problemo. Contacts. So how do we see if any of these contacts match that name? So we want to do an if statement. If contacts dot first name equals name. So now that we're in here, I'm going to make this a little bigger. I'm going to format the document so we get the indentation correct. If the indentation is not correct, it's harder to read, harder to code. If there's this person with this name, then we're good. And you know what? We're probably going to do our return in here. Whatever the value will be, I don't know what it's going to be yet. So because of this, if we find this person, that's probably good. And if not, then after this for loop, then like that person isn't in there. So we're going to return no such contact right away. And we don't have to worry about that at the end. So if we found them, now we want to do that check. If it has own property. So if that equals the name, okay. So now contacts. Oh, I'm already messing this up. We can't just do contacts of person. We have to do contacts I because we're looking through each of these contacts. So if contacts.I or contacts I equals or dot has own property. I'm not sure why it's not auto filling that out for us. That would be very helpful, probably. Has own property. And then we pass it the prop. So this is going to check if it has this property and if it has that property. If we're at the contact, we know it has the contact, and does it have this property? Yes or no? And if it doesn't, then we print no such property. So that's outside of this. And you may be thinking, Anna, we learned how to do and statements. We learned how to do the or statements. Why aren't we using that here? And we are not using that here because we're doing something different. We're doing something different based on this kind of condition. We have a sub condition. I'm going to use this. I mean, that's not even fancy language. It's like we can't check all these at once because then we would need to have another if statement checking if it has that property. So because we have that, then we can see like, okay, we have both of the things we need and now we can access it. So now I think here we return contacts I dot, and then we have to do prop because we have that as text. And this is like the moment of truth. This is our, this is kind of our big moment. I think I'm going to do console.log on this just to see if we're getting an output. I have to add a thing at the end. So I looked up Akira and found their likes. We don't have their pronouns, which is okay. So we'll just use they, them. And it was able to get the likes. So I'm going to... Don't worry, we are coming back from my webcam on my computer just for a quick second so we can wrap everything up. This lighting on this laptop screen. Hi, we're back. That was a little wild. I hope we didn't miss too much, but you can hear it all on the audio. Hello, Demshi. Hello, everybody. So I would say we probably got a B+. I mean, we could go in and complete the others. I'm going to give this an A. There are definitely some more assignments. I would say those are extra credit to go learn the rest of that. What else is there in this? There's generating random numbers. There's some number parsing. I actually do all that in Beyond Binaries. You could check that out in a more fun way there. But this has been such a fun stream. We've had so many people come visit and chat and share their tech stories. So I'm so happy. If you're here right now, please share this with your friends. I'm going to keep it up. So if you have if you want to have a friend who wants to get into coding, it's like send them this and it's like chill. They can watch it at double speed. I'm going to try to do these once a week just to stay sane. I want to kind of take care of my mental health. So if I can't do it once a week, then that's kind of it is what it is. But feel free to bug me on Twitter, on YouTube, leave a nice comment below. let me like readjust. And I'm getting better at streaming, so we'll figure it all out. I guess my phone could only handle 2.5 hours. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching my stream. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe, ring the bell, share it with all of your friends. We had such an amazing group of people here at this. I hope you go and try all these challenges on your own. Go finish it up. Live for this content. Jessica Novak, if you're in school for web development, amazing. We hate using all this tech jargon. Sometimes it can be good to learn, but like if you're just starting out, you don't need to hear all of it. You can hear some of it, hear what's good. Concatenation, no thank you. Iteration, no thank you. But what was a good one? What was one we really liked? Recursion. Oh, that was a good one. Recursion.